Deadpool has a very cool uniform, and it's red. His head is red, and he's got black diamonds here. We couldn't put him in a uniform. He's just wearing his operating pajamas and nothing on top. And he's got a bit of red here. But later on in the fight, the black starts to come out. So we're saying, we know he's supposed to have those diamonds, and he is that character, and here it is.
Right.
Released in February of 2016 and directed by Tim Miller, Deadpool is a movie with a long history of pre-production hell. Ryan Reynolds was first cast in the role in 2009's X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he got to play a decent Wade Wilson.
You look really nice today. It's the green. Brings out the seriousness in your eyes.
Oh my God, do you ever shut up, pal?
No, not when I'm awake.
Unfortunately, that movie's version of Deadpool took a few liberties with the character. When Reynolds was cast in the role, he began reading all the Deadpool comic books he could find and fell in love with the character.
I wouldn't say that I'm a comic book aficionado, but definitely this character I've always really responded to. I really like the art in the Deadpool comics, and I've loved some of the different storylines that they've covered. And, you know, I just always felt a kind of a kinship to him. I mean, he's this guy, he's a merc with a mouth. I've always been a fan of effervescent witticisms, I suppose. Also known as sarcasm.
So much that he began pushing for a solo Deadpool movie, a movie that would remain in limbo for years. First, the script was completed by Rhett, Reese, and Paul Wernick. Tim Miller wanted to direct, but he would be a first-time director. So before he could get the job, he first had to do a proof of concept video.
Your name, yes. Oh, hello there. I bet you're wondering why the red suit. Well, that's so bad guys can't see me bleed. Let's hope these guys are wearing their brown pants.
When you watch the full video...
Grime's the disease. Meet the cure.
Okay, not the cure, but more like a topical ointment that reduces swelling and itch. Hi, Tom!
The Tom at the end that Deadpool is talking to was Tom Rothman of Fox, who left the company at the end of 2012. The studio was unimpressed with the footage, and Deadpool re-entered limbo for years. Then, shortly after 2014 Comic-Con, the proof of concept video leaked online and was being viewed and re-uploaded faster than Fox could take it down.
It showed people that it's possible to put Deadpool on the screen the right way, and to put Deadpool on the screen in a way that is totally congruent with the comic. And that really created an uprising to some degree.
There are 4 frontrunners for who most likely initially leaked it. Ryan Reynolds, who had been pushing for a movie for a while, Tim Miller, the man who wanted to direct the movie, and the 2 screenwriters, Reese and Wernick.
When the test footage did leak, we all called each other, own up, we won't tell anyone. And I was like, no. So I still bust Tim's balls saying that he's the one that leaked the test footage, but he swears that's not true.
Nobody admits to being the one who leaked it, but these were the guys with the most access to the footage. The fan response to the footage was overwhelmingly positive, so Fox did the only logical move they could. They completely ignored the fan response. For all of 2 months, then they greenlit the movie. But no movie is truly flawless. Time for some hardcore nitpicking with this one.
Hey, yeah, I want to shoot, baby. Shoot.
Ooh, right zone, baby. No.
Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead literally contribute nothing to the plot. Now, I'm not saying they don't contribute anything to the movie, because they very much do. But plot-wise, all they do is fight Angel Dust. And Angel Dust is a character that exists purely to give these 2 characters something to do at the end of the movie.
It's a big house. It's funny that I only ever see 2 of you. It's almost like the studio couldn't afford another X-Man.
This is a very funny movie, but let's face it, not every single line uttered by Wade throughout this film is a pure gem. He's got his fair share of duds.
He's all yours. Oh, come on.
You gonna leave me all alone here with less angry Rosie O'Donnell?
The cinematography here is very simple, just flat one-shots of whoever the story wants you to look at. Only creative shots are when it's a joke, like a close-up of Deadpool's crotch or ass.
Right up Main Street.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you. Knock, knock, open up the door, it's real. With the non-stop pop out from stainless steel. Go hard, getting busy with it.
While there are some really fun action scenes in this movie, I never once felt that Deadpool had a chance to lose. It's part of the issue when you have a self-healing character. Add to it how Deadpool will nonchalantly injure himself in horrible ways. Deadpool 127 hours himself in this movie. Why should I be concerned when he goes into battle when the character himself doesn't seem concerned at all?
Oh, there's the money shot, baby.
Deadpool.
The first time we see Colossus, he appears to be eating cereal, and he's in his metal form. What? Why would he eat food in his metal form? Does he also take showers in his metal form? Is he just unable to go back to his human form? He could go back and forth between forms in the comic book and in the previous movies. Did the Days of Future Past reboot change it so he could only be in metal form? Actually, no it didn't, because here's Colossus at the end of X-Men Days of Future Past after the timeline is changed. In case you're wondering, Daniel Cudmore was asked to come back and play the role, but Tim Miller had always planned to have a fully CGI Colossus, and he was also going to use a new voice for Colossus. So Cudmore would just be there as a courtesy, really. Miller wanted a new Colossus because he wanted the character to be more comic book accurate, which means this movie got an entirely new Colossus different from any other movie form of the character we've ever seen. Except Colossus could go back and forth between human and metal form in the comic book.
These timelines are so confusing.
Damn it, don't make fun of yourself before I can.
You know our love was meant to be.
This is perhaps one of the most traditional plots ever told. And before you jump in and tell me how wrong I am, because this is the first ever superhero movie where the superhero is completely aware that he's in a movie.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Know that I'm not talking about that. And if you're going to correct me to say this is the first R-rated superhero movie, then also know that's not what I'm talking about. And also, you'd be wrong. This is like the 10th R-rated superhero movie. Everything I just brought up are storytelling tools. They are unique, or at least uncommon to this genre. What I'm talking about is raw plot. A character volunteers to be experimented upon. That character becomes a victim of that organization and is scarred from it, but he finds an advantage to his scars and uses that to escape. That character seeks revenge against the people who wronged him.
You killed my parents.
The bad guy captures the girlfriend of the character. The character saves the girl and gets the bad guy.
Good evening, Warden. I think these two men should be safe here with you now so they can get a fair trial.
Frankly, I'm not sure whether to praise the film for having such fun with a typical plot, or condemn it for not being more original with its plot considering how original its storytelling is. But no matter what, you have to admit, this is extremely generic. This is a difficult beast to say the least. What do I say about this movie that hasn't already said about itself?
I know, right? Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie?
There's so much of this movie that I could pick apart, but much of that is being done on purpose, and almost all of it is very entertaining. Remember how I brought up that he 127 hours himself? I got that reference from this movie.
You ever see 127 Hours? Spoiler alert.
I could make fun of how I can't place Deadpool anywhere in the X-Men timeline and can't even figure out how it's a part of it. He almost mentions Wolverine by name.
I can't tell you, but it does rhyme with Pulverine.
But then uses an Australian accent.
He's got a nice pair of smooth criminals down under.
Wolverine doesn't have an Australian accent,
Go fuck yourself.
but Hugh Jackman does.
The poor guy.
So, in this universe, does the character of Wolverine exist? Or is it just a character in a series of movies? Well, the X-Men exist in this universe, so is it just a universe where Wolverine exists and an actor named Hugh Jackman who looks exactly like Wolverine and plays him in movies also exist? And that's just my confusion of the timeline with Deadpool's first few lines. Apparently Ryan Reynolds also exists in this universe and looks exactly like Wade Wilson and starred in Green Lantern, and there's a Deadpool action figure from X-Men Origins Wolverine.
This is my most prized possession.
It's a muddled mess, and this movie relishes that. It embraces the mess with full force and is unafraid to muddle their universe even more. Hell, they could reboot the entire X-Men movie universe and do Deadpool 2 and just have a throwaway line where Deadpool states his continued confusion with all these recent universe reboots, that nothing makes sense anymore. I kinda wanna see them do that now. Let's reboot the X-Men universe into the MCU and have Deadpool remain untouched. Just through the nature of the character, such a thing would only give him more stuff to make fun of. I've never been a Ryan Reynolds fan ever since I sat through Van Wilder.
I think you got the balls to make it here. Call me nuts. But I believe in you.
I simply found him to be too one-note in his style. He says something funny once in a while, but for the most part, I always got the vibe that he was more interested in entertaining himself than his audience. But with a comedy style like that, he's perfect for Deadpool. Add to it that over the years, he has progressed and improved as an actor, and we end up where he's at in 2016's Deadpool, a movie starring a character that's perfect for him, and not surprisingly, he does perfect in. And honestly, it's hard to dislike any actor after he so willingly makes fun of himself.
Looks on everything.
Looks are everything. Think Ryan Reynolds got this far on his superior acting method?
As for Colossus and Negasonic Teenage Warhead, it would have absolutely been nice to make them feel a little less forced into the movie, but they work so well off Deadpool. Colossus is your more typical superhero, playing off Wade's anti-hero.
Over a lifetime, there are only 4 or 5 moments that really matter. Moments when you're offered a choice. To make a sacrifice, conquer a flaw, save a friend, spare an enemy. Why?
You were droning on.
While Negasonic Teenage Warhead plays Millennial against Deadpool's Generation X personality.
I mean, that's why I brought her? Oh no, finish your tweet. That's fine. Just give us a second. There you go, hashtag it.
It would have been nice if the movie had played more with the typical plot of the superhero movie, but at the same time, this is a movie designed to introduce a general audience to this very atypical character. Considering how reticent Fox was to make this movie, it was probably smart to go with the standard plot, considering how different Deadpool is from your standard hero. Better to do a standard plot with a true-to-spirit version of the character, rather than do a creative plot with a standardized version of Deadpool. For an initial solo movie, for a character with a strong cult following and almost no general audience awareness, this is probably the best movie anyone could have hoped for. I give it a 10 out of 10.
Wow. What a pleasure. As you can imagine, they don't let us out much.
I can understand that.
Hey, if you like this video, please make sure to hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe. That helps me out a lot. And if you really love this video, consider visiting my Patreon page.